You're listening to Catholic Chicago. Ahead, the Archdiocese of Chicago brings you programs about the people, events, and issues that touch our lives. Welcome to Catholic Chicago.
Good morning. Welcome to Catholic Chicago on WNDZ 750 AM 312-255-8408. Again, 312-255-8408. Also get us on youtube.com/Catholic Chicago, youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. Father Greg Sakowitz, the rector of Holy Name Cathedral in Chicago, and co-host Mark Teresi, no longer the executive director.
Right, no title.
No, right now, no title, but a part-time
Right.
assistant with me and working with stewardship.
And the 175th
comes up next year. So,
Yeah.
how you doing, Mark?
Very good. What a beautiful day today, huh?
Yesterday, the first full day of summer. Last evening, the summer solstice. I looked outside the window. Even at 9 p.m. in the western sky, you could see still glimmers of light
Right.
at 9 p.m. In fact, sunset yesterday was 8:29 p.m. I remember as a kid, I thought the days started getting shorter with daylight toward the end of July, not realizing it's June 22nd.
Tomorrow, today.
Today, it starts getting shorter by a minute 20 seconds per day. And we're going to blink. It'll be July 4th, Labor Day, and summer's over.
It's kind of like life at our age, right?
It does go by faster. So I always tell people in summer, create wonderful memories with family and friends. And the things you've been putting off, so I'm going to do this summer, do it. Because it'll be Labor Day.
I'm like a little
we
kid.
fall.
Like a little kid for Father's Day, our son, his wife, and their 5 daughters had other responsibilities, but we had already planned this Sunday we're going miniature golfing, and I'm looking so forward to it.
This Sunday?
Like a little kid.
Which little miniature golf course?
The one right on Devon. And
Devon, is that still there?
yeah.
Devon, it's been there for years.
And you drive by, and it's packed usually.
Yeah,
On
I haven't
a night
gone.
like yesterday.
I haven't gone miniature golf in 30 years.
I
But it'll be
know.
fun.
Oh, it will be.
It'll be fun. So we have a great program lined up again, 312-255-8408. On May 20th of this year, Cardinal Blaise Cupich ordained 5 men to the priesthood at Holy Name Cathedral in Chicago, 5 men for the Archdiocese of Chicago. Join us this morning to talk to us about his vocation journey is one of these men. Father Jesus Custodio will be serving the community of St. Alphonsus in Chicago. So, Father Jesus, welcome to the program. Congratulations, ordained a month ago, 2 days ago.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a wonderful morning to be here. And yeah, yes, on June 20th, I was thinking, oh, it's a month now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so quickly. The time goes by so quickly.
Have you come off the cloud since ordination day, May 20th?
I think I'm still writing it. I'm still out there.
Ironically,
Still smiling.
Yes.
now here's interesting, Mark. The day of your ordination, May 20th, 2023, was the date of my first Mass as a young priest, May 20th, 1979.
Wow.
So, Jesus, how old are you?
I'm 35. No, 34.
Okay, no more
Going to 35.
no more tricky questions. Well, well, I think there's a way to begin, Father Jesus, and that is you were not ordained in a vacuum, but there's a story. So maybe let our listeners know, how did you move toward the priesthood? Who was influential? How old were you? So kind of tell us your story.
Sure. So I was in teaching. I graduated from UIC in 2020, 2013, as I started teaching high school, and there was a sense of of enjoyment what I did at the classroom, and starting my new career, helping out, and doing what I thought was what I wanted to do in life, which was giving back to the community and fulfillment. But there was a time also that I started helping out at my local parish, which used to be St. Francis de Sales in the South Side. And
Oh,
so
wow.
I started getting involved and saw the needs of the parish, but I also saw that I really liked that environment of being at the parish. I started out helping with catechism, and eventually the pastor asked me to do the the coordinator for the religious education program. And so I would spend more hours at church in the office and the like, seeing people, and it was on the weekday I was at at school, and then on the weekends I was at the church, and so I was at the parish, and so I enjoy being at the parish a lot. I remember those days, and I would say, I like this. I like to maybe have this full time, and so there was a little spark there. But in that time, I also met some seminarians who came for as you might know, the the Peel weekend, when they
Mm-hmm.
come and share their vocation story, and so I heard them and the sacrifice that they had made. One of those seminarians had a girlfriend, and the girlfriend, he had to let go of the girlfriend, and the other seminarian was an older seminarian who said he had always been interested, and so that caught my attention, and something in me said, "Are you also going to wait this plus 40 years to answer the Lord?" And so I think that there was the Holy Spirit speaking, and I remember as a little kid, I used to play that I was a priest back at home. I was born in Mexico, raised till I was 11 years old, and then we migrated to the United States, so here in Chicago. And so I remember back then I used to play that I was a priest. I think I blessed uh, in my grandma's house. I would line up like the different my grandma had bird cages, and so I would bless the birds, and I would bless anything on the path. I was making a little procession. I make a shoebox, and the shoebox had images of an altar of our Blessed Mother and the saints, little holy cards. And so I was brought up in a small town in Mexico with a lot of devotional practices. And so we have the patronal feast day where everybody's outside and in procession. We have the Corpus Christi procession, which used to be big. And so all of these were in my head. And so I, as a kid, I think I used to say I wanted to be a priest. I used to do that. I this is a little embarrassing, but it's part of that. I used to put my grandma's nightgown on because that looked like a chasuble for me. And so I said, oh, I'm dressed like a priest. And so in I remember these things when this sense of vocation sparked as a teacher, as helping out at St. Francis de Sales, and but all of it was kept in silence. I really never told my parents about it, never spoke about it with a priest, and so it happened also that St. Francis had a new pastor, and he the same pastor who hired me to be the coordinator asked me, "Have you ever thought about being a priest?" And so I said, "No, that's not for me. I have a career. I'm not moving." But that question really never. I had to give it a deeper thought and answer. And so I think that's. Um, I went to one of the retreats at Mundelein for exploring the priesthood weekend, and so at first I said no. I was still very hesitant. I said, no, this is not my environment. Do I really want to be part of the church? And I'm a history major. That's why what I have from UIC, teaching of history. And I said, I don't want to be part of this historical church that has been, in a sense, uh, that has been uh, witness to a lot of bad and evil things that have
Mm-hmm.
happened in the world,
Mm-hmm.
especially after the conquest in the Americas. And so I said I was very hesitant because of that but then I remembered that the Lord had touched me in a sense. Back in college, I I stepped away from the church briefly, and I said, for the same reason, I don't want to be part of it. Do I want to believe in the Eucharist? And that was a big doubt. Is that really truly present? Jesus, is he truly present? And I said no. In my own conclusion, without really knowing much, I said no. Maybe that's just a symbol, and so that's what I had. That's a symbol of Jesus. But some of the people at the Newman Center at UIC, they invited me to a night adoration, and in that a night adoration, I came out with the sense of no, that's truly Jesus. Something happened there. That thing that I began to doubt is the same thing that brought me back into the church. And so back to St. Francis de Sales, I said no, that Jesus really touched me in a sense, and I came back, and this is why I'm helping. And so I decided to, in a sense, take that
You
jump
took
and
that,
say,
in other words,
okay,
you
I'm
took
going
that
to
next step
explore
then.
it
What's
finally.
interesting, Jesus, is that I was a former vocation director at Niles College Seminary of Loyola, which became St. Joseph College Seminary for 7 years. And I truly believe that the Lord is calling as many men to the priesthood today as he did 50, 60 years ago, but few are responding. And the very fact that you know, almost like saying, Lord, why don't you call someone else? Leave me alone, because
Sure.
I've got a career in teaching.
Yeah.
That, ironically, you know, Mark, is when I was a little boy, people have asked me when I was a kid, did I play priest in the house? I never did. I never once as a child, 5 years old, 7 years old, 10 years old, said Mass in the living room or the backyard. I just never did. So, Mark, you had a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering,
Yes.
Father Jesus, what was the reaction of the parish and also of your students you were teaching when you decided to go to the seminary?
Well, in with my parish, they were thrilled. They were excited because, especially the people who are more involved with the church, they saw. They said, "Yes, we see a vocation in you. You were taking a little too long to actually respond," and so they were excited. With my students in in high school, they most of them were surprised. A lot of them were not Catholic, and so they're okay. If that they go with the sense of if that makes you happy, then go for it.
What was the
And
reaction of
so
your
they
parents?
were, yeah. My parents were were surprised as well because, like I said, I had as a kid and as a teenager, I had never really brought up the sense of wanting to be a priest, and so they were 2 years into my career. They said, "You just finished your career, but what's with the shift? Did you not like teaching?" And so
That's a good
it's not that I
question.
didn't like teaching, but I guess I needed there was something that I needed to explore that I had not explored. And so
Interesting.
we walked together in this path, and they've been very supportive, and but it was a hard transition for them as well, going because it was a surprising event.
Well, let's take a little break. WNDZ 750 AM Catholic Chicago 312-255-8408. You can go to youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. We'll be back with Father Jesus, and maybe the next part of our program, talk a little bit about your vision of priesthood and the community that you're walking into, St. Alphonsus, and how you perceive the next years of your life as priest. We'll be back in a few minutes. Please stay tuned.
People always say, how can you spend your day with 3-year-olds? Seeing the changes that they go through and just the journey and how they grow. This is a very rewarding job. Even though at the end of the day, we're not the highest paid people on earth. And when I have a parent contact me and say, my child loves school, that to me, I'm setting that foundation for their love of learning. Because really, you are changing lives, you are molding lives.
Shape the next generation of leaders. Teach. Apply today at archchicago.org/schooljobs.
Community is core to Catholic Charity's founding mission. For more than 100 years, we have met people and families where they are, serving anyone in need, regardless of their faith, gender, race, or ethnicity. As our world absorbs the economic, political, and social aftershocks of the pandemic, 50% or more of the 6 million people living in Cook and Lake counties have little or no savings. They are a paycheck away from zero. We are deeply grateful to everyone in the Catholic Charities community who partners with us to alleviate the suffering of the people we serve and offer them a better path forward. We are witnessing a message of mercy and hope to a world very much in need. Learn more at CatholicCharities.net.
Lord our God, who in governing your people make use of the ministry of priests.
Do you promise respect and obedience to me and my successors?
I do.
May God, who has begun the good work in you, bring it to fulfillment.
Saint Dominic, Lord, we ask you, hear our prayer.
It's a lot of emotions. It's joy. I can't describe peace when I was prostrating and got up, and it was just a sense of peace, and then a sense of joy, a sense of gratitude towards God.
It's truly surreal, but it is just an incredible outpouring of the grace of God. And so I hope I can live into it every single day. So it's an incredible joy to receive his love in such a profound way. And I hope that in some way I can share that in a profound way with the people that I meet.
The parish experience that I've had has just exposed me to so much of what priests do and how they serve their parishioners.
God is always wanting to fulfill us. And a way that I'm fulfilled is by giving myself. So even before I came to seminary, I was a teacher and I wanted to give back to the community. But there was something missing there.
Out of the deep desires of my heart, the desires for being known and loved and desiring to give myself over to a great cause, that was my initial desire. And I've met so many young people about my age and younger who have that.
And when I finally encountered God and began to discern, I said, this is what fulfills me the most.
Welcome back.
We're back, WNDZ, 750 AM, Catholic Chicago with Father Jesus. Your parents, were those your parents standing with you in that clip?
Yes, that was my parents.
What was that feeling like?
What was
that first blessing?
Yeah, I was okay, exactly. What was it like to give them your first blessing?
It was a little surreal. Like we prayed together before, but now I'm doing it with their hands, and so it was just a sense of, again, as I'm thinking about it, just a sense of joy, and that when I was doing those saying those words of blessing.
Yeah, you know, I find that with the ordination, with your class on May 20th, every ordination I've attended, I think back to my own ordination in May 9th, 1979. Now, ironically, Jesus, as you were ordained on May 20th, which was for me, I've been blessed now 44 years a priest, the day that I was ordained a priest in 1979 It'd be equivalent to a guy 70 years old then ordained in 1935.
Wow.
Amazing. So a priest ordained in 1935 would be watching me ordained with my classmates, 31 of us, in 1979, equivalent to you ordained with me now, the 70-year-old, and how quickly the years have gone by.
What was it like for your first blessing with your mom?
It was, I like the word Jesus used, surreal. Here I'm blessing my mother, and I had my mother, we were close together, like Jesus' parents, with my mother, and just, did a spontaneous prayer. But the actual blessing was so special because my mother was incredibly supportive, along with my whole family and the community, for the priesthood. But it is a very surreal feeling. Maybe a question for you, Jesus, is as you begin priesthood, now, does your assignment officially begin July 1, or have you already started?
My assignment begins July 1st.
And
in about 2 weeks.
Which St. Alphonsus?
St. Alphonsus in the north side in Lakeview,
Oh,
Shirlington and Lincoln.
No,
yes.
the one on...
Oh, on Lincoln there. And
yeah.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
As you begin as a new ordained priest, Jesus, what are some of your hopes and dreams to serve the people of God?
That's a good question. I think that's something I've been wanting to this whole time of formation, especially the last years, is to go out there and be able to be with the people, be able to offer the sacraments. And so that's something that I've started to do already, especially with helping out at my home parish, my teaching parish, and doing confessions. And so I know the people there. Most of them are able to identify me. And so coming to St. Alphonsus is being able to know the people, being able to see their background, growing in faith. I'll be growing because I'll be learning from them. And I hope that through my preaching, through my presence, they will also take a little bit of my faith and grow in their faith. And so being able to grow together.
And also, let me share this as an old warrior in terms of being out 44 years. A couple things. Number one, it's not about you. It's about serving the people of God. And number two, listen to the people. As you come as a teacher, you come as a priest, but also you come as a learner. So let the people, by their wisdom, teach you. So it's very humbling in that part. And thirdly, that when I was in the seminary, when you were in the seminary, we are taught priesthood is a life of giving, a life of service, a life of helping others.
Yes.
But in terms of a life of giving, I have found, Jesus, in 44 years, I have received more from people by way of love, affirmation, and kindness than I've ever been able to give. So when you talk about priesthood as a life of giving, but Mark and Jesus, I've received more from people. It's been overwhelming. It's been a great ride, and I pray that for you, Jesus, that your entire priesthood, long may it be, to serve the people of God faithfully, to listen to people, and to be a witness not only in word, but in action. And I can tell right now, I love your enthusiasm, your humility, and
your smile.
Your smile.
You're happy.
You've got a very warm... And isn't it funny? The journey that took you to May 20th was a hard one, because many times you doubt and say, Lord, call somebody else. But then there's a peace that comes upon us, and you get up each day and say, thank God for the gift of priesthood and another opportunity to serve the people of God.
Well, should be in marriage, too.
Yes.
As a sacrament, that you wake up in the morning happy to be married, happy to be together.
And every day, Mark, is a gift.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee.
Yeah. And, Father Canary, I was up at Munline for 15 years. So you only put in 5. I put in 15. But I worked with Father Canary always had said to the seminarians what you're saying. He said, when you walk into your parish, the people will teach you how to be a priest. And I never forgot that line, because basically what he was saying was, they will love you, they will challenge you, but they will tell you what their needs are spiritually, and you'll be there to respond. Now, I have a question about St. Alphonsus, because I grew up St. Clement's. I know Alphonsus real well. A lot of young adults. What's your take on young adults and the church, and how will you approach them at Alphonsus?
When I began to when I received the assignment, people began to say, "Oh, that's a big parish, and that's a parish with a lot of young adults." And when I met with the pastor for the first time, that's exactly what he also said. And so, in a sense, I was okay. What am I to give them? But going back to what Father Greg just said about receiving, also learning from them, because I think that they want someone to walk with them. I remember as when I was in college, somebody to walk with you and the faith and be there when things come up in life, and so that's what I'm hoping is being able to know who the young adults are, but also it's an integral part of the church. It's the presence of the church, especially at St. Alphonsus, and so just being present and see in what ways I can help.
Mark, share that line again from Father Canary.
As you approach your parish, the people will teach you how to be a priest.
Very,
That's right.
very
Okay.
true. And the thing is that that cannot be taught in the seminary because you need that lived experience
Exactly.
as a parish priest to serve the people of God. And, it's very, Father Jesus, very humbling, incredibly rewarding. And I'll share this with you. People ask me, Greg, if you did it all over again, would you be a priest? I said, absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. I thank God every day for the gift of priesthood.
And it's interesting because, Jesus, you're brand new, and Greg's 44
Yes.
years, but you both have a joy about being a priest.
Yeah.
I mean, and it is the key. You let people teach you also.
Absolutely.
how to
And by the
be a
way,
priest.
Jesus, you'll make your mistakes because we all make mistakes and wish we had do-overs in terms of handling a situation, but you learn by that. And people are very, very forgiving. But here's the thing. If you assume the goodness of people, listen to them, and walk with them, and I can tell that's what your priest will be molded that way. And, it has its ups and downs, but I always tell people when you make a commitment to marriage or priesthood, it's not to the good times together, but the hard times together. And same thing with priesthood. There'll be good times, there'll be hard times, great celebrations, and hard moments too.
Now, what would you, Jesus, what would you say if there's a young man listening, kind of maybe had some of your journey where you left a little bit, and then what would you say to a young man listening if they have these thoughts about possibly being a priest?
That's I think first is with prayer, and so as just Jesus on a Sunday Mass, and whenever this young man or whoever is listening on Mass, take the Eucharist as Jesus to give you clarity, but also make it known to somebody, especially a priest who you think you can trust, and begin that to answer that journey, because going to seminary sometimes it's not about it's about discerning the first couple of years, and then maybe you'll decide this is it, or this maybe is just a calling for me to have a more faithfulness in the church.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful way to end the program. And you said the part that I was going to say for last. Root your whole life in prayer, in the Eucharist.
Mm-hmm.
A beautiful prayer that I say every day, 10 times a day. Lord Jesus, may I trust in you completely. Then I know you are with me. Then I shall not fear. And you, Lord, will do the rest. A prayer of trust and surrender as part of my daily
Beautiful.
prayer. So I want to thank in a very special way, newly ordained for May 20th, 2023, Father Jesus Custodio, the new associate pastor at St. Alphonsus in Chicago. Father Jesus, our prayers are with you. May God bless you in the journey. The community of St. Alphonsus are very blessed and lucky to
They
have
sure
you.
are.
So our prayer. I'll see you around the cathedral or around the archdiocese.
Come visit us.
Come visit us at the cathedral and at different meetings and all that.
And
So
happy 1 month anniversary.
if a happy 1 month. Happy one
Thank
month
you.
anniversary plus 2 days.
Thank you so
You're
much.
listening to Catholic Chicago WNDZ 750 AM, 312-255-8408, 312-255-8408. Also get us on youtube.com/CatholicChicago. Father Greg Sakowicz and Mark Teresi. In the second half, we're going to have Todd Williamson, and the topic is going to be sports and liturgy. Stay with us and do not touch that dial.
Do you have an old bicycle that's not being used? Consider donating it to Catholic Charities Veterans Bike Project of Lake County. Skilled volunteers are refurbishing bicycles to make them safe and ready to be used by veterans to get to and from their new places of work. We also gratefully accept financial contributions that are used to purchase bike helmets and other safety accessories. Our veterans have faithfully served the United States, and now it is our privilege to serve them. For more information on the Veterans Bike Project of Lake County, call 847-782-4219. That's 847-782-4219.
I am a seminarian.
The church needs compassionate and well-trained priests to help guide each of us through life.
What inspires me, what draws me always to the priesthood is continue to see priests be a beacon of hope for other people.
You can play a part in the education of these young men as they prepare for a life of service to others.
I want to be that beacon of hope too, and it sets my heart on fire.
To support our seminarians, make your gift at archchicago.org/seminarian fund or call 312-534-7959.
The cemetery ministry is a core ministry of our Catholic faith tied to the corporal works of mercy. It's comforting to know that our Catholic cemeteries are caring for the remains of our loved ones awaiting the resurrection. There are 44 Archdiocese of Chicago Catholic cemeteries willing to help you in your time of loss. Call 708-449-6100 or visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org. Catholic Cemeteries, serving the Catholic community since 1837.
You're listening to Catholic Chicago. Ahead, the Archdiocese of Chicago brings you programs about the people, events, and issues that touch our lives. Thanks for letting us be part of your morning. Now again, Catholic Chicago.
Welcome back to Catholic Chicago on WNDZ 750 AM 312-255-8408. Also get us on youtube.com/CatholicChicago. Father Greg Sakowicz and Mark Teresi on this beautiful Thursday morning, the first full day of summer, because summer began yesterday around 10 o'clock in the morning. So enjoy the gift of summer.
Yeah.
Now, but Mark, we could use some rain. April was dry. May was dry, and June so far has very little rain.
Maybe at night when we're all sleeping.
I mean, you hate to ruin a beautiful day with rain, but the ground is so parched. I think the farmers are really struggling for their crops to take root and grow. So you enjoy beautiful weather, but we could use rain in this area. Great second half of the program lined up. Sports are filled with liturgical actions and rituals. Watch any sporting event from beginning to end, in person or on screen. There's clearly a liturgy or order structure to the event that is filled with rite and ceremony. It is part of what makes sporting events meaningful, memorable, and participatory. Join us today to talk about parallels between sports and religion is Todd Williamson, the director of the Office of Divine Worship. Todd, good morning. Welcome to the program on sports and liturgy, sports and religion. How are you, Todd?
I'm well. How are you, Mark? How are you, Father Greg?
Good. Cub or Sox fan before we start?
What a great intro, Father Greg. That was just a great, they're in the studio, in the radio and TV studio. The guys there, Brian and Mike and Vince, and we talk baseball, we talk sports all the time when we're down there. And we've laughed about, there's great parallels between liturgy and between sports. And just as we start here, this is no profound theological movement, and we're certainly not we're certainly not denigrating the liturgy of the church by comparing it to sports. But when you live like I do, as a liturgist, and you see life through the lens of liturgy, I can't help but make these connections to some of the most important things that at least I find in my life. And so I'm constantly making connections.
And especially, Todd, and I was born in Chicago, Mark born in Chicago. Are you Chicago born?
I am not. I am Michigan born, and still in the Midwest. But no, I grew up a Tigers fan.
Oh,
and,
wow!
I came to Chicago, and Wrigley Field looked so much like old Tiger Stadium that I got connected there. So
good to hear.
And I'll tell you something. Now, you were born in what year, Todd?
What? That's a person. 1964.
So then you were 4 years old when the Tigers beat the Cardinals in 7 in the World Series, and I
remember watching TV in the Paris grade school. They brought the TV in to at the end of the day to play the games.
Are you kidding me?
And that was a big deal to bring the TV.
It was a huge deal.
And I see the Tigers in those days had some great team. No, it was take back 19. Yeah, was it 68 or 67? They won the World Series against the Cardinals. It was either 67 or 68, and the Tigers are on the rise this year compared to past years. And I'll tell you that right now the Chicago Cubs are surprising a lot of people. Now, granted, they're 2 games below 500, but they've been on a roll. They're in a weaker division, but now Cincinnati has won 11 in a row. And see, I'm Chicago-born, and honest to God, sports is in my DNA. I love sports. I played sports. I can talk sports all day. It's part of the Chicago front, but I like the idea of connecting sports and liturgy. So maybe the first question is, it's a season of summer, so it's baseball in Chicago, which will give way to football, basketball, hockey, and the cycle happens year in and year out. So we talk summer and sports, especially baseball, but we talk about sports and liturgy rooted in faith and hope. Say more about that, Todd.
All right, so I don't think this is any secret, but Cardinal George, God rest him, was a Cubs fan.
Oh, sure, North Side.
Somebody was asking him about the virtue of hope, and he said his answer was, this is paraphrased, but his answer was, you can't live as a Cubs fan after what was going to be a 108-year drought without rooting yourself in the virtue of hope.
In fact, a great joke that was very popular until the Cubs won the World Series in 2016, because it had been since 1908, that long drought. And the great joke pre-2016 was, what did Jesus tell his disciples after his ascension? And he said, he told the Chicago Cubs after his ascension, he said, don't do anything until I come back. But in 2016, they won the World Series. And you remember in 2016, this city went crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And also in 2005, with the White Sox winning the World Series against Houston in 4, the city went nuts. And so, and also it's interesting, you talk about sports and hope, and we're always talking about next year. And liturgy lives in that sense of hope, and sports does connect to life. But also one thing about sports is it's a great unifier. When you get 40,000 at a ball game, 65,000 for a football game. Now, granted, you have people that cheer for the other team, but for the home crowd, it kind of brings people together in unison, in one voice.
Oh my goodness.
Now, I have a trivia question. It's related to sports. It may be related to us, to the church. When did Catholics fill Soldier Field?
Oh my gosh, Eucharistic Congress, 1926.
There it is. You win. You win Greg's joke book.
And I think it was June 24th,
Was
1926. So it'll be 97 years ago, 2 days from now.
Wow. Good answer.
How about now sports for 500?
but that whole idea of being a communal event, um, and again, I look at things like that through the lens of liturgy. But when you have 41,000 or 65,000 stand and unite their
There it is.
voices into there's the Congress.
Great
But
going there,
stand-
Brian and Michael.
Yes.
Yeah, they stand and they unite their voices into one voice to sing the national anthem. That brings about, that unifies those 41,000, just like music does in liturgy.
Good point.
We stand for the opening hymn, and it's the same thing. That opening hymn unites us all, individuals, into one body, and the one body sings the opening hymn.
And then at the end of the national anthem, there's an explosion of cheers and clapping. Now, if you're in the United Center with the Chicago Blackhawks, it goes from beginning to end for the national anthem. It's a crescendo that is deafening. That's very unique to sports with the old Chicago Stadium and now the United Center when the Blackhawks hit the ice, the national anthem. With the first chord on the organ, the crowd is going ballistic throughout, and the closing note is absolutely deafening. But you're right, there's a unifier. It brings us together, and also you have sports and liturgy. Say more about it as a communal event.
Like I said, it pulls. You don't do it as an individual. Nobody goes to a sports arena to sit by themselves, right? The energy of the crowd. My experience is going in to do a baseball game, whether it's at whatever they call it, they're on the south side now, and Wrigley Field.
Guaranteed rate.
You walk out of there at the end, knowing, having made new friends, the people around you. You bond with the people around you. You talk to strangers. There's a sense that I'm not in this alone, and that's the exact same attitude we're called to have in liturgy. I don't go to liturgy for my own private prayer. I go to liturgy to be part of something bigger than myself, which is exactly what we do when we go into any sports arena. So, a true fan of that sport goes there wanting to be part of something bigger than themselves.
I'm going to give you
That's a good point.
I'm going to give you a word, and then you draw the analogy. Season ticket holders.
Every Sunday goers.
He's 2 for 2.
Yeah, which is very true. And also, you talk about sports, talk about with liturgy, a collection of rituals.
Oh my gosh, we all have them, right? So I think again, every true sports fan has their own ritual. They always go into the same gate. They always, sit in the same area. Hey, have you guys seen 80 for Brady yet? That little soft comedy about the women who follow Tom Brady. They've got this ritual. They got this ritual that they do before every game. Literally. Where no, right before the game you have to throw the bowl of chips. Remember, you dropped the bowl of chips and you were standing on the ladder. So before every game they go through this ritual, and then you look at the game themselves. What happens in every baseball park in America between the end of the seventh inning, between the end of the first half,
seventh inning stretch?
Right? It's a ritual. We do it. We expect it. We know it. We love it. It pulls us in even more. That's the power of ritual.
And the thing is, also now going to football, nothing has more dominant ritual at a football game. University of Notre Dame, before the game.
Oh, yeah.
They talk about from the pre-game tailgating parties in front of the buildings with the hot dogs and selling food and the parties, to even the behavior once the game moving toward the national anthem, repeated. Let me ask you this, Todd, your definition of ritual.
It's something that it's something that is patterned. It's something that's done the same way each time. It's ordered. There's a certain order to it. But the power of ritual is that each time we enter into it, each time we go through it, it takes us deeper and deeper and deeper into whatever is being celebrated, right? So you think of family rituals, you think of rituals between spouses, you think of rituals between very close friends. Those rituals serve to build those relationships. And in a sense, those rituals take us deeper and deeper and deeper into the mystery of those relationships. Ritual does the same thing in liturgy.
I just thought of it. We're going to take a little break, but I just thought, seventh inning stretch could be compared to the sign of peace at Mass. Because, people turn around, they sing together, they greet each other. I mean, and there's kind of a happiness, whether you're winning or losing, there's a happiness there. Anyway, here's my little bit of sports.
That's not bad. Not bad for a...
WNDZ, 750 AM, Catholic Chicago, 312-255-8408. You can go to youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. We'll be back with Todd Williamson, continue our discussion on sports, liturgy, parallels, how we bring people together. We'll be back in a few minutes. Please stay tuned.
For more than 20 years, Catholic Charities Adult Protective Services has been advocating for seniors who are the victims of abuse, neglect, confinement, or financial exploitation. With our partners at local, city, and state agencies, our trained case managers follow through on every concern that is brought to our attention in a cooperative way to ensure that our seniors are safe and protected. According to the Illinois Department on Aging, last year nearly 21,000 cases of elder abuse were reported in Illinois. Of these, only 5% were reported by seniors themselves. So raising awareness is an important part of this issue. If you are concerned about a senior you know, call 800-252-8966. That's 800-252-8966. With your help, we can stop elder abuse and look out for the seniors in our lives.
Welcome back.
Es fabuloso verlos.
Dobrze jest znowu być razem.
It's good to be together again.
After so many months apart, pandemic capacity limits have been lifted, and we want to welcome everyone back to church. We can all pray together again. And listen as our choirs lift their voices in song.
We've been together in spirit.
And now, when you are ready, our doors are open wide.
Nuestras puertas están abiertas de par en par.
Nasze drzwi są otwarte.
And we're here to welcome you back to Catholic Mass.
Catholic Charities' Family Self-Sufficiency Program has assisted thousands of single parents who are working to become more self-sufficient through education and employment opportunities. Our experienced case managers accompany participants for up to 5 years on their journey to identify, address, and break down barriers to improving their quality of life and achieving meaningful goals for themselves and for their families. Professional, compassionate assistance is offered in a safe and trusting environment as participants develop the skills needed to become financially stable and able to support themselves. Every achievement starts with a decision to try. To learn more about Catholic Charities' Family Self-Sufficiency Program, call 847-782-4233 or visit CatholicCharities.net.
We're back, WNDZ, 750 AM, Catholic Chicago, 312-255-8408. You can go to youtube.com/Catholic Chicago with Todd Williamson, the director of the Office of Divine Worship. We're talking about liturgy and sports. I had a question, Todd. So in sports, you're looking at people on the field. There's training. They don't come without training, without practice, without skills. Parallel
Hard
that,
work.
Yeah, hard work. Parallel that with liturgy.
Oh my gosh, almost every liturgy is a rehearsal or a practice, if you will, in our Christian lives. The things of any sport, right? Speed, accuracy, strategy. I mean, those things are those are the things that are honed, right, for the players through practices, through camp, through actual playing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in liturgy, the same thing for us Catholics. Thankfulness, self-giving, care for those around us. Those are honed when we enter into liturgy. The sport shapes the athlete. The liturgy shapes the Catholic. There's great parallels there.
And I'll take it one step further. That was a great question on Mark's part. Tremendous answer, Todd.
Yes.
Compare now sports. Take baseball. We have spring training to get the player ready for the season, and it's 5 or 6 weeks. Compare that to our liturgical year, the whole season of Lent, which is a spring training.
There are cycles. There are cycles to sports, just like there are cycles. So there's this great this great kind of concept. You go up to any sports fan, and you ask them, "Hey, what season is it?" And they'll look at you and go, "What are you, an idiot?" Well, of course it's baseball season, right? You go up to any liturgist, you go up to any Catholic and say, "Hey, what season is it?" Well, we're in the Easter season. Our seasons order our time. They create rhythms and cycles that we live in, and liturgy does the exact same thing for us.
Now we have a question here from Laura, who wrote in to Michael and to Brian, who happen to be also with Clinton, great sports fans. This is a great question by Laura. Are there elements of competition in liturgy that parallels elements of competition in sports?
Wow.
Laura, that is actually a...
It's a dissertation
that's
question.
A great Laura, my hat's off to Laura. That's a great question. Are there elements of competition in liturgy that parallels elements of competition in sports? That's really something to think about. And
Okay, it depends on how you look at the term competition. I mean, because competition implies
winning and losing.
Yeah, the desire to beat the other. But competition, is competence. Competence meaning I enter into this with the fullness of my intent in this game or my intent in this liturgy. Competence. I enter into this knowing what I'm supposed to do on the field or in the pew, knowing what my role is on this team, what my role is in this liturgy. Competition comes from competence, to know, to have it in your bones. Every good player has that sport in their bones, and so it's like playing with the fullness of my knowledge, my awareness, my practice, and entering into the liturgy with the fullness of what I know is my role here, all for the best that can happen in that game, whether it's this team winning or that team winning. And in liturgy, the best of my ability to enter into this liturgy completely and to encounter Christ.
Now, here's another way of looking at it, and that's a great answer to a tremendous question. That is, when you have a stadium full, let's say choose Wrigley Field, White Sox Park, and that is you're always going to have people in the stands who are cheering for the other team. So, for example, when the Cardinals play the Cubs at Wrigley Field, many Cub fans, many Cardinal fans. When the Cubs go to Milwaukee and play the Brewers, many Brewer fans cheering for their home team. Many Cub fans make the trip up north to Milwaukee, and there's back and forth. But the part I'll never understand, and I've always was a tremendous competitor. I had a will to win. I was never a sore loser, but a fiery competitor. But in the stands, when fights break out, because I'm wearing a White Sox jacket, someone else is wearing a Boston Red Sox jacket, and the worst is like Yankee fans, Red Sox fans, Dodger fans, San Francisco Giant fans. You hear a couple of years ago after the game at I think it was at Dodgers, a San Francisco Giants fan was killed in a brawl in the parking lot when Dodger fans beat up a Frisco fan from San Francisco. I thought, this is absolutely ludicrous to have fights in the stands or in the parking lot because we're in different jackets. I mean, I get competition, but then we've lost a sense of the reality of what this is all about.
Yeah, the communal aspect, losing a sense of the communal aspect of the connecting aspect.
Yeah,
but here's the subtle competition, though, liturgically. If I'm I'll just play it because we're working with a young adult proposal. I'm a young adult. I come to Cathedral, and I'm welcomed, and I feel part of, and the liturgy is, I'll say dynamic, but liturgy is involving me, including me.
Engaging.
Yeah. And then next week I go to Church B, and I don't see that there. And then I go to Church C, and I see some of it. But Cathedral, I remember Cathedral, and I belong there. That's a subtle, competitive approach to how we look at church. And it may not be conscious on parish parts, but those young adults are shopping. So there is a competition.
I feel the exact same way when I'm at the cell. I remember Wrigley. I'd rather be there.
Yeah.
And that's just being very honest. Well, I'll give you another example. This is football. There's no greater competition than Bear fans, Packer fans.
Oh, my word.
Oh, my Lord. That takes it to a whole other level. Or you have Notre Dame, Southern Cal competition. But at the same time, we all want this sense of belonging. So when you go to Wrigley Field and people are high-fiving each other at Sox Park or, Soldier Field for the Bears, and they're high-fiving each other, there's this innate sense of wanting to belong, the sense of belong. We're all wearing a Bears jacket, a Cubs jersey, and that's with liturgy. All are welcome. All are so. And liturgy is what the action of the people. The word Catholic means universal, welcoming all. We're actually out of time. I can't believe it's almost 9 o'clock.
This was fun.
Todd, this has been a great half hour. We'll do this again. We'll do this again. And by the way, congratulations. The Cubs are playing great ball right now. White Sox are sputtering, but want to thank in a very special way Todd Williamson, the director of the Office of Divine Worship.
Thank you very much.
Todd, you've been a great guest. God bless you for your dear friend. Keep up the great work. Special thanks also to Mark Teresi. Mark, you held your own very well in the area of sports.
I can't believe it.
I was surprised. It's a very special thank you to Michael May and Brian Hockey Hitman Brock for their great work. To all our listeners, God bless and have a wonderful week and weekend coming up.
Join us every Monday through Friday at this time for Catholic Chicago. You can stream our programs live or listen to past programs by visiting our website, archchicago.org, and clicking on Radio TV. And please connect with Catholic Chicago on social media.